G'day guys and gal. Chaos is a hell of a drug. Once you are hooked, it's almost impossible to stop. I can count the amount of people who have genuinely mastered chaos as a non-corrupting tool on one hand. 99% of the time when someone tries to leverage chaos for their own ends, chaos is the one that ends up leveraging them. The point I'm making is that it's next to impossible to redeem your soul and shed yourself of chaos's influence once you've drunk the Kool-Aid. But what about swapping which chaos Kool-Aid you want to drink? What if you get a bit sick of being a fat, smelly piece of shit and instead want to have like hectic orgies with hermaphrodite demonettes? Is there a process for swapping your patron god, or will that result in you getting instantly deleted? The short answer is yes. The long answer is watch this video. Before we get into the swippity swap, I want to thank you guys for the massive support with the proper launch of the Major Minis last week. The fact that me and the team were able to fulfill and send every order placed last week already is incredible. So much better than when I would have to like bust my balls for weeks whenever I did a launch. It's been especially great to see people pick up the new Lord of Blood Mini, and I'm already getting submissions for the $10,000 Major Mini painting competition. But a few people have rightfully said, Majorkill, doing a bunch of HQ units is cool and all, but where are the squads? We want to see some value. A big reason for that is that whilst 3D printing HQ units makes the value better than casting it in plastic, as soon as you start going for bulk packages, the plastic casting's value takes over. That's why GW's single HQ units are so expensive, whilst their larger unit packs are much less so. But I thought, stuff it, let's just eat the poor margins and do it anyway. Hence I present to you the Space Lion Squad. 4 models that come with both a pistol and sword variant, as well as a large gun variant, as well as a sergeant model, so you can proxy them as standard marines or assault marines. 5 miniatures all together in the one purchase. On top of that, I'm also releasing the Master of the Space Lions, a bulky beast of a warrior coming with a custom base, 2 head variants, a power sword, and a claw. This model was one of the most challenging to make, not because it was like overly complicated, but because it was extremely important to me not to make the Lion Marines look like a bunch of furries. If you were to pick up the Master of the Space Lions, and then like 1 or 2 of the Lion Squad packs, you've got a genuine force right there that you can then build an entire army around. Can't wait to see what you guys and gals do with these. Today we'll go over every time in the lore when someone has tried, either successfully or unsuccessfully, to change which chaos god they served. I'll be including times where people have been forced to change allegiance as well. Let's get into it. Not every Chaos God is equal when it comes to their ability to corrupt people's souls. Nurgle and Slaanesh are the foremost corruptors, as all Nurgle needs to do is give you a smidgen of AIDS, and Slaaneshi corruption can be very subtle and insidious. So when Slaanesh and Nurgle battled for the soul of a world and a devout ecclesiarchy priest, it was an absolute joy. Basically, Typhus had invaded a loyal imperial world and infected it with Nurgle's gifts. He had planted his destroyer virus within the imperial religious leader, a man of strong will, but who was slowly falling to Nurgle due to said AIDS. However, a Slaaneshi warband wanted to fuck with Typhus. Fair enough, I think everyone wants to see that smelly piece of shit get clapped. So when they arrived on the world, they replaced Nurgle's corruption with their own. The swamps and flies were turned into beautiful oases and stunning golden spiders. The destroyer virus within the priest was carefully turned into a blessing of Slaanesh. Instead of flies or rot emerging from the man, it was blossoms and elegant insects. When Typhus returned to the world, he was furious. A bunch of these Slaaneshi sluts had just stolen his prize. He was further enraged and humiliated when he saw that the priest had been successfully converted from a servant of Nurgle to a priest of Slaanesh. To make matters worse, the Death Guard accompanying Typhus were overcome with Slaanesh's influence, and they actually started worshipping Slaanesh over Nurgle. Their dead nerves were brought back to life, as their slow, boring existences suddenly perked up with excitement and ecstasy. Yeah, Typhus was not impressed, and was forced to withdraw from the world, having been successfully clapped by Slaanesh. So basically, a cleverly laid trap by Slaanesh's forces that more or less allowed them to come blast the Death Guard with direct Slaaneshi corruption. This was enough to steal them from Nurgle and bring them over to the Prince of Pleasure. Another instance of Slaanesh being a greedy little slut and stealing followers from other Chaos Gods was when Kharn the Betrayer, the avatar of Khorne himself, and his elite Khornite berserkers went up against some Slaaneshi demonic magic. Now Kharn is the corniest of Khorne boys. Dude will literally massacre his own warband or fellow world eaters for a laugh, so you'd think that the warriors he leads into battle would be also very corny. Well, apparently not corny enough, as when they faced off against a Slaaneshi demon, they were hit by her slutty spells that were designed to turn someone to the worship of Slaanesh. Khan's entire warband instantly falls to Slaanesh, and they just begin jerking their gherkin. Even Khan has to fight to maintain his composure, biting his lip till it bled to help him focus, although that in itself was a very slutty Slaaneshi thing to do. Khan is then forced to kill all of his men. Even after that, the Slaaneshi demon still nearly overcame him. It was actually pretty wild seeing Khan get so close to throwing down his weapon and cock-punching a spiky fleshlight. Eventually, he's able to start fantasizing about war and violence, which gives him the will to defeat the sorcerer demon, but it definitely seems like one of Slaanesh's underrated powers is her ability to steal followers from the other Chaos Gods. Not all allegiance swapping is caused by Slaanesh low-key raping your free will. When the Sons of Horus first escaped into the Eye of Terror, they were like lost little lambs. Their Primarch was gone, and the other legions blamed them for the colossal fuck-up that was the Horus heresy. As such, their sense of pride, self-preservation, and lack of retardation was at an all-time low. They would constantly switch between which god they followed depending what suited. Were they about to go into combat? Praise Khorne. Did they need to improve their warp powers? Praise Titsnitch. Did they need to take a massive stanky shit? Hallelujah, it's Nurgle, and so on. A part of this would mean that they would allow demons from the respective god they were praising at the time to enter their body, empowering them further. However, when they would swap allegiance, that demon would obviously leave in violent fashion, destroying their bodies and leaving them as lifeless husks. It was only after a new method of possession was invented, which kept the body intact even when the demon left, did the Sons of Horus stop taking massive self-induced casualties. Fucking retards, man. There doesn't seem to be any instances I can find of a servant of Titsnitch being lured to the other gods. Firstly, because they are too smart for that shit, but more importantly, Titsnitch has like a kill switch on every single one of his followers. If you displease him or he's just bored, he'll flick it, instantly turning you into a chaos spawn. So whenever one of Titsnitch's followers would consider swapping allegiance, boom! Now they are a tentacle hentai monster in constant agony. A Nurglite poo-face once tried to get Ahriman to serve Nurgle by promising him he could return the dusty Rubik Marines to some kind of life, but obviously Ahriman didn't accept because, yeah, just look at Nurglite followers. So to willingly swap out one of the Chaos Gods for another, it's difficult and dangerous. You will incur that god's wrath one way or another, either by being directly smited by the god you just abandoned, or being a primary target for their followers. I'm not even sure how you would swap out of Slaanesh, considering the level of depravity you fall into when you follow the Prince of Pleasure. So we have established that it is possible, either by your own free will or by getting forcibly converted. But can you praise more than one god at a time? Well, yes, there is Chaos Undivided factions that include the Wordbearers and Be'lakor, but what about 2 or 3 out of the 4 at a time? Yes, but this is very difficult and very rare. The Chaos Gods are somewhat in a constant state of war with each other. Khorne especially hates Slaanesh, whilst Nurgle especially hates Titsnitch. So if you were a follower of 2 gods that were engaged in all-out war, what would you do? If you were seen to be helping out one side more than the other, but receiving equal gifts, one god would likely get jealous and turn your ass into a Chaos spawn. The only rare times when it works is when a Chaos warband performs rituals to multiple Chaos gods and praises multiple Chaos gods equally. However, they cannot get involved with inter-Chaos god warfare. So the amount of power and favor that they can gather from Chaos is capped, as if you want the higher tier goodies, you'll need to directly serve that Chaos god and fight the other ones. The one clean example of a Chaos warband following 2 gods at the same time that I know of are the Deathmongers, a Khorne and Nurgle Traitor Space Marine combo. This warband were one of the many Space Marine chapters that fell to Chaos when they entered into the Eye of Terror in the extremely ill-fated Abyssal Crusade. In the Eye, they were captured by the Dark Elder, tortured to insanity, and eventually broke free. They then swore allegiance to Chaos. Their Nurglite allegiance is obvious due to the symbol of their warband. However, their battle doctrine and lack of Plague Marines and decay hints towards something a lot more corny. Their battle doctrine being cause as much damage as physically possible, even if it means giving up victory. You can either drop a nuke on a battlefield or drop the Deathmongers. The result is the same. This tactical priority is about as Khorne-like as it gets. So it seems like they praise Khorne with their actions and Nurgle with their rituals and symbols. Khorne and Nurgle aren't really known to be massive rivals either, so this probably helps. However, despite this one example, overall it's not really worth the effort and risks, considering you'll never get anywhere close to the final goal of any Chaos follower, that goal being ascending to become a Demon Prince. The only mortal who kind of gets away with it all is Abaddon. He is considered to be Chaos Ascendant, which allows him to draw power from all 4 of the primary Chaos Gods without having to break his balls and maintain some kind of balanced ritual. They've basically just given him a bunch of power and free reign to do whatever he wants, since generally whatever he does is overall a great benefit to the forces of Chaos. This is why he is special. So long story short, yes, you can swap allegiance without incurring significant penalty if you do it carefully and intelligently. The issue is that Chaos followers do literally nothing carefully or intelligently. So 99% of the time, the allegiance swapper will get killed, Chaos spawned, or have their souls devoured. The Sons of Horus willingly accepted demonic possession, knowing that whenever they swapped allegiance, it would destroy their body and soul, yet they did it anyway. If anyone asks you how the trade allegiance lost, just point to this example. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where there is not only a copious amount of nude cosplay photos, but also a boatload of Battlemaze 40 million hentai. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more swippity swappity content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.